part of my responsibility as a pastor, I think it would be true for others in different roles of ministry leadership, is to help our congregations or our group of leaders be aware that seasons of grief do come. And again, not only death, but seasons of sadness. So for me as a pastor, that involves a number of things. Sometimes I see seasons of grief coming, meaning I can think of several times when there were several people who were battling terminal illnesses in our congregation who were well known and well loved. And with permission from those families, it was good for me to say some things about that publicly, to say, and I remember a specific conversation, this coming ministry year, we are going to welcome some wonderful babies into this world. Several of you, you know who you are, have babies on the way, and we will celebrate with great joy. This ministry year as well, we are going to walk with some of our dear friends to the doorway of death. And I would call out the names of those who were given me permission to do that. This person, nearing the end of their journey on this life. And dear friends, we will grieve. But listen, in our grief, we will walk with those families and those people as they grieve, not only the families, but the person who's dying, so to speak. We're going to walk with them all the way to the door. I often use that analogy. I can't walk through that door with you, but I'll walk you to the door in faith, and we are going to grieve this together. And often I've given instruction to our congregation, reminding them of things that it's helpful to say, and being very pointed about things it's not helpful to say. I've wanted to train our congregation in this. There are some things that are not helpful to say. It's good to know Romans 8:28, but to step alongside a person who's just lost a loved one and say, well, cheer up, friend, all things work together for good. This may be true, but it's woefully unkind to say to a person who's lost a loved one, well, they're in a better place now, aren't they? Oh, for goodness sakes, that's probably true, but terribly unkind to say at a time of loss. But to teach a congregation how to say, dear friend, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I will pray for you, and I will care for you. And then to find practical ways to help or to serve when such exist, but to refrain from saying things that are wounding or aren't helpful. Some of those might be good to say later, but in a moment of acute sadness and loss, to be, well, what appears to be chipper, overly spiritual, not helpful. So I think it's very important when there's grief and loss for a leader to call it out specifically. Even now, at time of crisis in the world, during COVID, for example, those were times of grief and loss of relationship, to say it as such and say, here's how we're going to handle this together. I think that's the responsibility of a pastor in a church, leaders in any organization. Prepare those you serve for how to handle grief and loss.